Iran's leaders have spent decades making one point crystal clear. The country's ballistic missiles are not up for negotiation. Despite waves of sanctions, sabotage, and diplomatic pressure, Tehran has only expanded and refined its arsenal. For the Islamic Republic, missiles are not just military hardware, they are central to regime survival and regional strategy. Iran increasingly sees its ballistic missile program as the last credible pillar of deterrence and a hedge against what it regards as fundamentally unreliable U.S. security guarantees. The roots of Iran's missile posture lie in its experience of acute vulnerability during the 1980-88 Iran-Iraq War. Then, Tehran endured Iraqi missile barrages and airstrikes that it struggled to answer, hampered by an aging air force and cut off from Western arms. That trauma embedded a core lesson in Iranian strategic thinking. Never again depend on foreign suppliers or outside promises for basic defense. Ballistic missiles emerged as the most realistic way to offset those weaknesses. They offered a relatively cheap, technically achievable means for Iran to threaten distant adversaries such as U.S. bases in the region, Israel, and Gulf rivals without rebuilding a first-rate air force. From the late 1980s onward, missiles became the backbone of a doctrine built on denial, punishment, and the ability to impose costs on anyone contemplating an attack on Iran. Decades of sanctions and pressure have had a paradoxical effect. Rather than curbing the program, they pushed Iran to develop a sprawling indigenous missile industry backed by the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps and global procurement networks. Each round of U.S. maximum pressure has coincided with qualitative leaps in range, accuracy, and survivability of Iranian systems. Politically, missiles have turned into a non-negotiable symbol of sovereignty. Senior officials routinely draw a hard line between the nuclear file, where limited compromises have been possible, and the missile program, which they insist, is off the table. Tehran argues that while nuclear commitments can be monitored and reversed, dismantling its missile forces would expose the country to coercion or even regime change within weeks or months, if Washington ever chose to walk away from its pledges. In this calculus, keeping missiles is safer than trusting U.S. guarantees that past experience has taught Iran to view as fickle. Iran's missiles also underpin its wider regional strategy. They provide an umbrella for allied militias and partners across the Middle East and have been used as leverage tool. Though Western and regional rivals see this as destabilizing, but for Tehran, it is proof that the arsenal works. It projects power, deters adversaries, and makes any attack on Iran a far more costly prospect. Given this entrenched logic, there is little sign Iran will trade away its ballistic missiles. To do so would require deep, enforceable, long-term security guarantees from powers it has long defined as adversarial and unreliable. In the absence of that unlikely bargain, Tehran will continue to treat its missile program as the last credible pillar of deterrence and an indispensable hedge against the uncertainty of U.S. intentions, making it the one capability it is least willing to put on the negotiating table.